Yeah, you should be able to pull up the messenger.
Yeah, I actually just sent it to her right now, so we're
Okay,
good to go.
so we're live on Facebook and YouTube. We had a little bit of a tech difficulty, which means we're going to have an excellent show. I'm gonna return in
All
just a
right.
second. We're gonna allow people to come in since we had a little hiccup, and gonna put on our intro, and we'll be back in about a minute and a half.
All right.
What's happening, everybody? We got Stephen Savage in the house.
Hey, hey.
He's doesn't need an introduction. He can handle that. This is the second show we've done. We were down in where was it? St. Pete Beach.
Yep.
Um,
Good old
we were
west
down there,
side of
yeah,
Florida. Yep.
hanging down there for a little while. And Stephen was not on Facebook, and he was following Soldier One Studios on YouTube. And he said, "I'm coming down to Florida," and I said, "Let's get together." And we spent some time together. And then I went to his house on the way over here to Arkansas. We spent some time together, and here we are. So you said that you before the show, you said that you have expanded 5 times what you
That's,
were in what
yes.
the last month.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, the last month has been crazy amazing, but the last week and the last 4 or 5 days, I mean, everybody knows what's going on, astrology wise. I mean, I don't really follow that, closely, but I mean,
Yeah,
I follow it physically, etherically, but third dimensional wise, I really can't tell you much about that kind of stuff, except
yeah.
for I know that my sun is a Capricorn, my moon Sagittarius, and my rising is Aries. What that means, eh, I don't know.
You said,
But
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 it, I
yeah,
mean,
no, sorry, go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
but so I left on May 28th. So we got together around a week before that. So basically 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Mm,
And so
yeah.
I know I've had incredible, and I would say it the same way you did. July, end of May, all of July has been, I don't even know how to describe it, but certainly the last few days, including this morning. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just this morning was, I don't even know how I made it to the first show, which was at 1 o'clock my time,
Yeah.
because it literally, I sent her a note, said I'm going to be 5 minutes late. I'm having tech difficulties, but I was the tech difficulty. But I was able to sit down and then connect, and then everything was okay. And then the second show with John was incredible.
Well, we're the
Uh,
highest technology out there,
exactly
so
right. But I mean,
you
it's
can't.
like I don't know, man. I mean, I had the major lucid dreams last night. Major. I got up, I had to lay down. Uh, After I got up and took a shower, and I had more lucid dreams, and you know, um, the
Yes.
messages are so clear. I mean, I feel like it feels like okay. So for instance, between last night and this morning with the lucid dreams, all of my immediate family came in: mother, father, brothers, sisters, brothers-in-laws, children, and there was
Mm,
this whole thing that happened. And without going into detail about it, because it's not necessary. It was about my death, right?
Wow.
And
Congratulations.
that was very obvious. But the other, what I was getting at, so there was all those people involved, but then there's all these other people that I just have bits and pieces of what happened. People that I know, people that I've met in the last 2, 3 years, and it's like things are being said and resolved. That's how I would put it. And I know that's a weak way to describe it because it's an energetic kind of thing that I'm talking about, but there's some type of alignment occurring at warp speed.
Yeah, totally. I mean, just we were talking about dreams. By the way, as you know, I'm sitting out in my garage in my beautiful space looking out, and a nice storm is coming in. The
Mm.
clouds have gotten dark, the wind's picked. But anyway, I love it. But when it comes to dreams wise, just the last four or five nights of dreams have been crazy vivid.
Yeah.
And they've all had the same theme. And the theme was they were all, because like I've had everybody against me in my dreams. Like everyone's trying to kick me out. Like if I was in a house, they would kick me out. If I was in this, they would kick me out. Or if I was in a group, they'd kick me out. They're booting me out of the old world.
Yeah.
Like they're basically saying, get the F out of here. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, look,
Yeah.
you're done. Stop playing around these little games you're playing.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And that's what I've noticed, is because, like I said, it's about 4 or 5 days now, and all the dreams have had the same, repeating.
It's kind of
It's
like,
just
yeah, kind of like, well, maybe it's kind of the similar or the same thing. I can't even talk, but so they're kicking you out. Those identities are being kicked out. Those false identities of you that, like John was talking about in the previous show. You're not your experience.
no, and
So,
maybe I need to, because I thought that I've cleared that, but apparently there's a lot of deep-seated,
yeah,
DNA issues that are really down in there in the bones that I'm still grabbing onto subconsciously, and that's
yeah.
probably what's coming through in the dream cycle.
Well,
Is
that was a big part of what I felt happened to me. In fact, I actually experienced it physically over the last 2, 3 days, and it was like some deep rooted. I mean, I could see them like these little balls and stuff that were like clogged up
yeah,
and coming out. And
yeah,
but what I was going to say to what I wanted to ask you about. So all this stuff is happening on the global level and on the personal level with everybody, and through it all, through all the this and that and everything that happens, there seems to be a very clear and distinct alignment occurring. It's occurring rapidly. It's a little bit challenging, but doable in terms of getting over the wow. So, in other words, like this powerful alignment, revelation, and understanding and epiphany, it's all coming in, and you see it's almost to me like prophecy. And I would say only like
yeah.
in regard to my own journey, but I don't need to go out and like do anything. Like, we would want to go out and do this, and I got to do that. I got to
Well,
do
that's
this.
just you can't use old tools to create the new, because the old tools were created by the old ways.
Yeah.
The old tools got us to where we are now, which is great and wonderful and beautiful. But where we're going, there are no tools. We are the tools.
Yeah. I love what
You know?
Candace Co said. If I had $1 for every time I heard someone say, I thought I cleared that.
Yeah, right.
but
Yeah,
that's,
yeah, no
but
doubt, no
we
doubt.
have heard, but we've all said it. So many people have come on the show and said, man, I thought I cleared that. But
Hmm.
there are these deeper things. But there seems to be, I felt like this past weekend, and again, I'm like you. I don't know all the intricacies of planetary and celestial alignments and all that. But
Hmm.
it was actually, I remember now, it was new moon eclipse, uh, solstice eclipse, Father's Day occurs in
Right.
between, and then there's
Yeah.
another eclipse in like 10 days. But I felt like that. I said it yesterday, like we're at the 0 point of this eclipse period, which say it's this big in the container, and then it's also the 0 point of a bigger one, and a bigger one and a bigger one. I feel like literally like the axes of the earth have reversed.
Yeah. Well, everyone's been talking about the new world and the shift and all this type of stuff. And in the past, that's always been more of a metaphor. but I'm starting to think it's a bit more than a metaphor, because it's where we are now is, well, we've had such a hard time adjusting to these new and amazing and, very high energies, because we're, obviously we've spent so much time in the opposite, in a 3D reality. But now we're getting used to it. Now we're almost longing for it. Like when we're not in those high vibrations, we're almost like oh, I don't want to go back, because I notice whenever I try to go back or try to pretend that I'm not where I am now, then it's just like, all right, I'll give you 1, 2, 3 seconds. That's it. You're out.
Yeah,
You
then
know
you
what I
get
mean? Like
kicked
that.
out.
Yeah,
Then you
yeah.
get
You're
kicked
done.
out like in
You're
your
done.
lucid dreams. Right?
Exactly. Exactly. But all these astrological,
Hmm.
I would really love to get more information, really dive in deeper about that kind of stuff, because I do feel there's a lot of valuable information,
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. We
But
talked about
but
that. Yeah, I think
yeah.
we talked about that. Must have been Saturday, because Marianne Savino was on Saturday for the solstice. She's been on quite a few times. She's an amazing lady, and she has a variety of different uh, attributes. You know, and one of them is, and she'll say, I don't understand it all fully, but she understands, the a little better than we do, the movements and the alignments and all that. But I said to her, I feel like, because I look at the stars at night if I was walking a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever, on
Hmm.
my journey, and several times I'm like, that's an overlay. Like,
Yeah.
where does the matrix stop and where does the stars start, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then I started kind of coming to this recently, where I thought, you know what, that's where we came from. Now this is just me talking. I'm not saying it's gospel, but it's like a guide. It's like, okay, this is what it looks like, and because of all the history, and that's been passed down, this is the energy that's there. Like, people are talking about the 6 planets in retrograde right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Right.
that
Right.
just sounds like something to take notice of. But
It
I feel,
does. I mean, a lot
yeah.
of the stuff sounds very important. We just wish we knew what it meant. Right?
Well, I think for me, it's like, okay, you've been here before. You're familiar with these energies. You're familiar with these patterns. Now, what are you going to do? Morgan has a saying. What new choice are you going to make? Like, it obviously, because people talk about the loops and the patterns that
Hmm.
are presented to us. Like, say you were in this type of relationship, and then you wake up 20 years later and you realize, oh, I was in that same energy 1, 2, 3, 4 different times. You got to make a new choice to move out of that loop. And I think
Yeah.
that's kind of what it is. And I talked about this yesterday on that show that we did with all those incredible, beautiful people.
Oh, that was
Is
awesome.
that
Yeah.
you got to create? I've heard for 8, 9 years, create your way out. I said, what do I do? What do I do? Here's this piece. Here's that piece. Now you got to put it together. Yeah. What do I do? Well, whatever you do, don't do anything that you've done before, which is what you're saying. And the way I was said to me was, create your way out.
And the whole point of the only way you can create a way out is by being a conscious creator. And the only way to know what being a conscious creator is understanding your flaws, that your issues and your triggers.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I've spent pretty much most of my life working on, is understanding, okay, why do I do what I do? Why do I say what I say? Why do I follow what I follow? Why do I, you know? So once you understand that kind of stuff, and then you can be like, okay, to be a conscious creator, first thing you have to know is when you're not being a conscious creator.
Mm,
That's it.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can't change something you don't know exists. So you have to understand when you're not being a conscious creator, and then you're like, oh, okay, I see that I'm just following this old road that's been there for thousands of years. Like,
Right
no,
on.
all right, turn around, hit the e-brake, do that nice little handbrake turn your ass around, come back, make a better choice. But don't be hard on yourself. And that's one thing I realized too, because I used to always be kind of hard on myself, because I expected a lot from me, because, well, I used to expect a lot from other people. And I realized, well, if you expect from a lot from other people, you're going to be disappointed all the time. So then I realized, why do I expect a lot from other people? I was like, well, because I expect myself to be perfect. I'm like, okay,
Mm,
well, what is perfect? Perfect is what everyone told me perfect is. That's not perfect. That
mm,
has nothing to do with it. So therefore, I'm giving myself
mm,
these, so I'm putting myself out there to where I have to meet these certain levels that are attainable, that are
mm,
unattainable, based on a 3D level. So I'm like, okay, well, first of all, get rid of that shit.
mm.
Let that go. All right, what is perfect? Perfect is being you. Perfect is understanding and being in the flow and being clear and not allowing your brain to control every moment and in
Yeah.
every word you speak.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Perfect to me is not a place. I mean, it's not a place like a
It's not a
stationary place.
destination. Right.
Well,
It's
yeah,
not a
it's not like a,
destination. Like you
yeah,
don't get there. Yeah.
no, it's to me, perfect is perfecting. And perfecting is achieved through, and I'm just speaking my own opinion, but like perfecting is what you were talking about, just being yourself, just being yourself. And it's crazy because all this multidimensionality and the higher self stuff and the God and the goddess and the source and the divine essences and the angels and the galactics, all that stuff has come into us, but it all drills down to the human aspect. Like
And that's
perfecting is
yeah.
perfecting the human aspect, like bringing that in.
And that's what makes it so damn interesting because we know where we come from, we know what we
Mm,
are, but the simple fact that we have to basically, it's like, looking at a mouse and then looking at, a monkey. And a monkey, they can make choices. They can, they have social skills. And then you look at, a creature at a lower level that whatever that may be, that just does what it does.
mm,
And then it's all right. And then you have to merge them two together. How in the hell am I going to merge these two far polarity, far polarities together? And that's what we're faced with here on this planet,
mhm.
but we make it more difficult because we don't realize or we didn't realize that that's the way it was always meant to be to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we've just been brainwashed to think otherwise,
Well,
you know?
yeah. And so like okay. So if you look at all the multidimensional aspects, that we're talking about and the whole trip that we've been on and the whole learning curve that we've had, you kind of think that the human is bringing up the rear. Like if it's a body, like
Right. Like I said, like you would
yeah,
put it on the lower level.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but you feel like, okay, and it's true because a lot of people have talked about this, now the human parts of us are the last to align. The body. That's why the body's changing. That's why we're purging. That's why we're going through this now becoming a biological and physical transformation from a carbon-based body to a light body, right?
Mhm.
But the paradoxical part of it, which I love about the universe, is we're not actually the tail end of it. We're actually the head. The human aspect on this
Mhm.
trip, maybe not the next one, but on this
Yeah.
trip, it is front and
Yeah.
center. It's the prize and the mission and
That's
the
just
vow.
more
And
proof that everything is backwards, turned upside down.
absolutely. So you've had some pretty interesting experiences the last few weeks.
Oh, yes. I was just about to talk about that. Indeed, sir.
I was
You
trying to
got it.
be gentle and just break it in there, but
No,
would you like to
no.
elaborate?
Yes, I would.
Would you like to
Let's,
elaborate on what's occurred recently in your life?
okay. We'll bring it back to the basics here. Our first interview to where you told me about your connection with Morgan and how that was, sacred sexuality and, and just all of that. And I was unaware of that because I was still stuck in the 3D uh, mentality of what sex is,
Yeah.
and which is horrible, honestly. That's why I've always like I have my fun and and like, why do I feel horrible afterwards? Why do but anyway,
No, I
but
got you. I got you.
yeah, I mean,
And
I would feel horrible. It's just like,
yeah,
yeah.
even when I went to visit you on the way to Arkansas, and we went and you went and bought me lunch, and then I left. You were heading somewhere.
I was, and
But now
and
you
that
were,
honestly,
but you were saying, I just want to make sure we covered this point because we talked a little bit last night.
mhm,
You got to a point 10 days ago that, and we're talking about soul merging, we're talking about helioscomus, we're talking about sacred sexuality, sacred sexual vibration. We should say that chi, kundalini, whatever you want to call it. That's reawakening in all of us. That's our natural nature. Now you told me last night that whatever, 10 days ago, I may have that wrong. You just decided you're not doing it anymore. You're not doing the old stuff anymore.
No, I
Did
played
that
the game
did
so
that come
many.
to you? Was that through a lot of contemplation, or did that just pop in like a?
I've been working on that for years, but when the moment is right, you know it's right. And in the past, I would fool myself and believe in the moment is right, but I obviously still needed to dip my toe in the water,
Hmm.
But 10 days ago to a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, there was just like you almost, like when you get out of the water and you've been under there and you want that breath
Hmm.
and your head's above water and you're like, that's what it felt like. It felt like,
Hmm.
oh shit, all right, now it's time. It's on.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, because I'm not here to demean women. I'm not here to play those stupid games anymore. I've done that shit. I was
Hmm.
an asshole. I was a nice guy. I was all this. I've done it all,
Hmm.
you know? And about a week or so ago, I like I completely, because I used to mess around with dating sites, and believe me, I can get on a dating site for a day or two and get 15, 20 numbers, like bam, bam, bam. I mean, easy. I would get on there and no problem. So, but I was just like, what am I doing? This is shallow. This is
Hmm.
hard. Like, but this is, like, it makes me feel like shit, honestly, and then what, and all that kind of stuff. So about a week and a half ago, I'm just like, sex is supposed to mean so much more. This energy that has been siphoned from us is being siphoned from us for a reason, because it must be extremely powerful.
Hmm.
So maybe it's time I dive into that. So therefore, I was just like, okay, no more dating sites. I'm like, I got rid of every number on my phone, and I haven't even touched myself in almost 2 weeks, like at all. And so what was it? Was it yesterday? Kuan Yin, you know who you are. Yeah, she found me on that first interview with you and I,
Yeah.
and we've been messaging back and forth slightly a little bit.
Hmm.
And she asked me about a week ago to actually FaceTime on Facebook,
Yeah.
whatever they call it, nose
Yeah.
time, FaceTime. But so we did that yesterday, and holy shit! I mean, it's just like, wow. I mean, like as soon as we started talking, like I felt my energies were just bubbling up, and I got hard as a rock, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, hold on, what's going on here? I'm like, and then
Oh.
she explained to me, that
So you told
that's
her.
what she does.
You told her this is what you were feeling,
Yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
you're having a
Oh yeah.
conversation like this, and
Well, I cannot not be honest. I realize that now. I cannot not be 100% forthright. I can't. It's no longer in my DNA. So everything that I feel, that I know that isn't, ego, I have to
yeah.
say it.
But and just to be clear, because I want to make sure everybody's clear, we're not talking about cyber sex here. We're not talking about the
Mm-mm.
old 3D, type of patterns here. What you experienced yesterday was the sacred sexual vibrational energy within yourself
Mm-hmm.
that with this connection with a mirror of you, you began to experience and take it from there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And and she gave me feedback on her end, because she's been doing this for a long time, so she's aware of what's going on, and to me this is all kind of new, but I know energy and I'm very good at energy, so I understand that part, but I don't understand the minutia of certain
Mhm.
things that I haven't experienced like that. So she was able to walk me through it and tell me what's going on, and she told me that I was affecting her in a great way. I mean, like, in ways that she's only felt a couple times in her life before.
Right.
So that was just proof, because I'm the kind of guy that I work on myself so much until I don't put myself out there until I'm ready,
Yeah.
and apparently I've been working on being ready this whole section, with the whole sexual, thing for years, but I was never ready until now. And now that I'm ready, and then all of a sudden this beautiful soul, Kuan Yin, just bam, pops out looking for me. And then she gives me exactly what I needed. I mean, it's just too good. It's just too
Now
freaking good.
and this is through a conversation, a connection. Was there a lot
Hmm.
of silence? I
Oh
mean,
yeah. Well, she did some light language for me. There was a moment that there was silence involved where we just, kind of stared at each other, and just
So,
a lot of energy being transferred back and forth like insane. I mean,
wow.
a lot, like up to the point to where we're sweating. Like we both got so hot, we were, had to sit under fans, and we were just like literally burning up. I mean, it was
Wow.
just, it was going. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. And I was feeling it down in my hello reasons, and she was feeling her hey, hey, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So it's just like like the energy was there, but it wasn't like my old energy of
Yeah,
sexuality.
it wasn't, you weren't going into the programming.
No, no,
You
no,
were
no,
you were
exactly.
connected on pure a pure level, pure intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Did
I've been
you
looking for that for a long time.
so did you feel it through any of your other chakras? Did
Oh my
you got
God, my entire body was going
yeah.
insane. I would go all the way from my chest, my heart was going insane, my sacrum, I mean, and my spine, and then my head would start tingling. I mean, like everything was just, my toes were pulsing. I mean, it was just like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Yeah.
wow. So this is what being a conscious creator when it comes to sexual, energy really means, because otherwise you're just, all right, let's get in there, have fun, bam, you're done.
Hmm.
I'm like, no, there's more than that, So I witnessed it for the first time starting
Wow.
yesterday,
I
and
think I
now
think
I understand.
more and more people are going to be.
Yeah,
This is our natural nature. I mean, I think we're going to end up being, 100% of the time, uh, it's in an ecstatic, orgasmic,
hmm,
state. I mean, I don't mean that
yeah,
in at a, any, you know what I mean. I don't mean that
oh yeah,
in a old sexual way at all. Just it's a well, it's I guess similar, and maybe it's the same energy of the Kundalini experiences people have. I know when I had two in my mid 20s, and the second one scared the hell out of me. It was because it
yeah.
was the same type of thing you were talking about, like coming up from the spine and the lower chakras, and it blew my head off, and I was like, no, and I shut it down. But this is the energy that we're talking about, isn't it? But it also contains code. Like
Hmm.
she
Oh yeah,
she gave you something that you were deficient in, and I'm assuming, more than
oh yeah,
assuming, that happens
oh yeah,
it's vice versa.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
mutual. It's mutual.
Hmm. Yeah,
Was
and
there
that's
any
the
type of like um what was I trying to say, effect or consequence or occurrence as a result of this? I mean, did you get any kind of like epiphanies or revelations afterwards, last night, this morning? Did you have
you know
anything come in?
they're actually I did notice a big difference, and my confidence level actually went up a couple notches.
Wow.
I I haven't had a problem with doubting myself recently,
Mhm.
but I notice it's still in the back of my mind. Every once in a while, it'll
Yeah.
try to kick in there, but that has almost all but failed. I mean, like almost gone, so far, which I'm, but I was actually I was watching after your show last night, directly 2 minutes after your show. Uh, this YouTube person, Sheila Corona, she
Hmm.
had a live show on. She had three ladies, and most of her people are female, but I just felt drawn to her just about 2 days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. And then, she did her live show, and I was on there, typing, doing, some, actually talking to them,
Right.
and, I noticed because they were doing bowls where they were, toning and all, I mean, what do you call it? Anyway, they were using bowls, doing
Singing
different,
bowls.
yeah, actually using singing bowls. And what they said is that, as we do singing bowls, I want you to type into the comments what you feel, what you see, what you want, what comes to you.
Right.
So every single time they were doing a tuning bowl, singing bowl, that these images like would pop into my mind, and I realized I've been seeing things my entire life, but I've always written it off as just imagination, or just oh whatever. But I would put these images, I would type them down and tell them what I seen, and then I would have other people, be like, holy shit, blah blah blah. So that's confirmation for me that my imagination is not, me just making shit up. The shit's
Right.
real.
Right.
The shit's real, which I've always kind of known it, But last night was like a confirmation of it. I was
Wow.
like, because everything I was saying was just like hitting on point. I'm like, holy crap. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I need to trust myself more. I
Yeah.
need to stop doubting myself, you know?
That's a good point. That's a good point because that's the one place that we have doubted ourselves more than anything. Our divinity, our supernatural powers, higher sensitivities, empathic abilities. I mean, the, because nothing supported that until
No.
these communities started to develop and people started to
Well,
talk
yeah,
about it.
there was something that supported it. Crazy houses, they supported it.
Yeah, yeah,
Insane asylums, they
yeah.
supported it. But
False diagnosis.
Mhm.
Now, so, and it's interesting too because this, Morgan told me a long time ago when I first met her and we were merging and practicing Heros Gamos. She said, "This is how we live, love, and learn in the other dimensions." So,
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know, and if you think about it, we're
That
always
that's how
interacting.
intimate it is. That's how
But
intimate it
yeah,
is.
well, and going
Um,
back to what you said at the beginning, that about being a conscious creator, like conscious, because we've come to the understanding that everything we're doing, we're creating. But now to
mhm.
be conscious, to your description at the top of the show, these mergings, uh, you're one universe awakening, connecting with another universe awakening, and one side has certain strengths and weaknesses and vice versa, and then both gain from the merging. And this is code, this is light, whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. But
Well,
I
we've
think
had blinders.
it's
We've had.
becoming more and more
Oh yeah,
you know aware. The awareness of it's becoming more, and the practice of it.
it is. I mean, and we have the proof right in front of our faces, us.
Yeah, true.
You know, and we know that a lot of us that are on this mission, that are, here to help the collective to clear a lot of stuff and just, way showers, whatever kind of words you want to put out there. So, I I can't help but have nothing but love and and just know that our future is going to be so damn bright. I don't care what everyone else says. It doesn't matter. You know why I know? Because I know. That's why I
That's right.
know. Because it's not a question. It's not a doubt in my mind. You can tell me all this riots, people killing each other, racist. I don't give a shit. I know the future because I'm creating it.
Mm,
Me and everyone else like
mm,
me. The conscious creators that actually do this thing, and they're not just going out there. They're not just doing what they're told or just, you know, no. The people that are in control are creating this new world.
yeah,
It,
that's
you
right.
know,
And and you going back to the confidence thing. I remember when I got brought into the game 9 years ago, and I had 6 different aspects talking to me. One of them, each one of them represented certain attributes of the soul or virtues of the soul. Let's say one of them was spiritual confidence, and I think that's what you were referring to earlier. And so if you think about, if I even look back at my own situation over the last few years, with all the things that have occurred, meeting a divine partner, and just all the different things, there was always that, you know, point where you're walking alone, figuratively and literally, and you're doubting yourself. So your
oh
spiritual
yeah,
confidence is, some people might say being attacked or whatever, but but there's something to be said for the reality of even one individual walking the earth in full 100% confidence and knowing that they are what they are, which is eternal and divine and multidimensional and ancient and so on, and to be actually conducting their life from that vantage point moment by moment versus someone and it's been me and it's been you and everybody else who's in doubt from time to time.
yeah. And isn't that amazing though? I mean, isn't that amazing the steps that we have to go through to be where we are now?
Yeah.
I mean, we literally have to lose ourselves to find ourselves. Well, we didn't have to, but we did. We
Yeah.
lost ourselves in order to find ourselves.
It was a beautiful
And
design.
yeah, I mean,
And I think we really outdid ourselves and impressed the hell out of the multiverses with this whole COVID thing. What a
Yes.
beautiful design that's been. I mean, what an incredible
Yeah.
you know support method for further awakening. I would guess, or I would say guess, or venture to say that in the last 2 to 3 months, the level of awakening worldwide is to this point been unmatched.
Indeed.
The speed of it, the uh, the volume of it in terms of the number of people. You know, I mean, it's been huge, and
I
I
mean,
don't even know what the rest of the year is going to look like. But to me,
uh,
it could be anything.
well, I'll tell you right now, at the rate that we're expanding, from my personal standpoint, my personal point of view, there's no way to tell the future. There's no way to give somebody, like, oh, well, this could happen or this could happen. Because right now, no one has a freaking clue. I have no idea. It's so expansive, so fast.
Hmm.
It's like you don't want to grab onto that monkey bar ahead of you because it's going to take you in that direction. At this point, I'm falling free. I'm like, I'm everywhere. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, okay, let's see what happens.
Right on.
So, and it's happening at such a fast level, and every moment it accelerates. It's like a snowball. You take a big ass snowball, you roll it down a hill, it gets bigger, faster and
Hmm.
faster as it rolls down the hill. And that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's a couple of pretty cool comments from the YouTube.
Okay.
Uh, Avenda Sora 777. Thank you. She says, "Thank you for speaking about this. Orgone energy is the peak of human Kundalini. Conscious relationships are incredibly important to awakening. They're the core of society and Kundalini society's Kundalini rising." And then Martha Clark says, "This happened to me. Thank you, Martha. This happened to me this weekend with a man I have known for 1 month. We are truly coming together now and finding each other and
Wow.
our soulmates." This is happening. We've had some couples on here over the last couple of years, and when they come on, you can tell right away. And I'll make a joke about, hey, you want to talk about sacred sexuality,
Hmm.
or I'll say, have you guys ever experienced, like, you're intimate, which can be a lot of different things, and then as a result of that intimacy and that connection, that merging, um, a whole bunch of universal portals open up. Could be apparitions, could be information downloads, transmissions, data. You know, so it's happening, and I love
Oh
what
yeah.
that. I love what this Avinda said. That conscious relationships are incredibly important to awakening. They are the core of society, including Kundalini rising.
Well,
Powerful.
yeah, you ain't kidding. That also, makes me think of is one of the human aspects is we're used to grabbing onto something, right?
Hmm.
That's just what we're used to finding something that we want or what we're lacking or what we need supposedly, and we're grabbing onto it. We're kind of doing the same thing now,
Hmm.
because we're grabbing onto that higher energy, to that fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever dimension, but we're doing it not out of lack. We're not doing it out of the old third world, perception of it. Because
Right on.
back then it was other people, oh, I want to do this so I can look good around my friends, or I want to do this so I can be accepted, or people won't talk crap about me. Those intentions are done. We're
Yeah.
still grabbing onto something, but we're not grabbing onto a physical thing, or we're not
Yeah.
grabbing onto a destination.
Yeah.
We're just grabbing onto what, holy, that feels right. I'm going to grab onto that. So it's it's kind of similar because we're still in the 3D, because we're
Hmm.
still in the human body. So we still have, parts of the human body that are still going to act the same way, but they're going to act different ways. I mean, but they're going to act the same way, but with different intentions.
Yeah.
With, you know,
Well, and you're right. We're still in the body, and there's a couple of good comments here that my tech just went out, but one it was in regard to, and thank you, Dawn Bowers Cantor. Oh, you cannot acknowledge a male female difference in alignment. There is one love, one heart, and body of light. That part of it, and then who was it? Candace Co. She's a consciousness conscious relationships with the own self and all else. At some point, it's all of your relationship. It's all you. You know, it's so it's like taking it to this crazy level. But like you said, we're still got some 3D stuff going on, and part of that is our physicality. So if I look at you stepping up today and boldly talking about what you're talking about, and the fact that you are physically masculine and very openly talked about your journey, which I believe most every man could relate to, you know, in terms of this is how I played the game. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't a bad guy, and maybe sometimes I was, and sometimes I was a great guy. And
Hmm.
but here is the vehicle. The vehicle is this sexual interaction, the domination, and all that
Hmm.
stuff, right? The
Yeah.
role playing, what I was programmed to do. But to get to that point and have this experience this weekend, and then here's somebody else who's of an opposite gender talking about the same thing, that you're saying, hey, I've had enough of that. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to align with this because this is my natural nature. This feels right. This just, what is this? I mean, it's the way
It
versus,
is.
you know,
And the only reason why you know it's the correct way is because there's no knowing involved. It
yeah,
is. You know, it's not like you have to talk yourself into it. Oh, well, it's the right way because of this, and that. No, you don't have to go through. If you have to go through those steps, then that's you trying to talk yourself into something.
yeah,
You know, but if you just know it, like you're talking about, like, you know, like what happened to me, you just know it. I mean, it was just,
hmm,
you know, when we first, you know, communicated, I mean, it took literally seconds, and I'm talking about like minute seconds, and it was just like bam. I was like, what the F? I mean, like, holy shit. And she was the same way. She's like, what's going on here?
wow.
I'm like, you tell me. I don't know. I mean, like, this is new to me.
And so, and I love what you said too about the confidence thing, because when I met you a month, 5 weeks ago down in Florida, we had never met, we'd never talked. I walked down to the corner restaurant, we sat down, and you told me your story. You told me that you're getting the call. A lot of people are getting this call. People that have been plugged in and connected, and they're kind of getting the call, the hands on the back, get out there. It's time to come out. But I could tell, and it was perfectly understandable, that you were a little, you know, you're a little nervous about it, and who
Oh
wouldn't
yeah,
be? Who
that was
wouldn't
my
be?
first time ever speaking in
Yeah.
public.
But
You know.
you said, as a result of this experience with Kuan Yin, that one of the things, the first thing that pops in your head when I asked you the question was the confidence thing. Like it
Yeah.
fed the true part of you, the natural part of you, the divine part of you, the part of you that continues on, and not the experience of, you know, Stephen. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is one of the obvious huge advantages to this type of thing is the information that you gain from it. You know, the code, the light, the understanding.
Oh
It's
yeah.
important.
And that's you know, the whole confidence thing is our first show. You know, our our first show that we did about 5 weeks ago. That, because like I said, you know, I told you before, I wanted to start my own YouTube channel a couple years back,
Hmm.
but I'm very, and I mean very good about timing. I don't ever do anything in my life unless, okay, now it's time. If I feel like I'm being pushed or dragged, I'll refuse. I will hold back. I will put my feet in the ground and say no.
Hmm.
And I've realized I've done that most of my life. That's why I've always been so different, because most people, they'll be dragged and pulled along without any question. And I've always been like, so call me what you will. But after our first interview, that alleviated a lot of my doubt that I had about myself. And it allowed me to be like, okay, I gave myself permission, you know, to move forward. And the thing that happened with Kuan Yin, I mean, that just amplified that. I mean, 5, 10 fold. I mean, it was just like, holy shit, like, Steve, you're on the right path. Like, every once in a while when I notice myself making the right choice, I'll tell myself, good job, Steve. You know what I mean? I'm like, good job. You know what I mean? Like, you did good. You did good. You
Hmm.
know? And so, you know, if you consciously are aware of the moments that you have a choice to fail or not, and you give yourself, props for not failing, you'll notice when you're not doing that more often.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to give yourself a little pat on the back every once in a while. Be like, good job, you did all
Yeah.
right.
And then there's the part of it too where from that energy you can direct it somewhere.
Oh yeah.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
I've always been extremely powerful in energy, but I've not really been wise about my powerful energy. I've just known it because I can feel and I see what effects, all the effects I have around me, and I can feel it within my body. But to actually understand how that works and that you have control over it to a certain aspect is so much more powerful. Because if you're a very powerful person, like we are, doesn't it kind of help to understand how you can use that to the benefit and not
Absolutely.
just let it just go wild?
Have you had have you I mean, because I know your story and you've done a lot of um just innately from the beginning done a lot of what people call inner work, taking responsibility for your life, taking responsibility for what you create, um, being kind of in the background, you know, you know,
Mhm.
and but since all this stuff has happened, even like in the last few weeks, have you been able to talk to more people and share the experience mutually? Are you still kind of feeling your
Actually,
way?
yes. No, I've noticed because remember our first interview, I felt like I didn't really have anybody, more or less.
Hmm.
But well, that's changed a lot. Well, my relationship between me and my mom has expanded tenfold, and I mean, we talk about stuff that I never thought that we would talk about. I mean,
Wow.
like she's opening up like a flower. My sister's opening up like a flower. My brother's opening up. I mean, like all these people around me are just blossoming. I'm like, holy shit, why didn't I see that before? Or maybe I wasn't ready because maybe I was still stuck in the old, but still, but now these people around me are just like, there you are. I see you now. I see you now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, where have you been? Like, maybe it
Or
wasn't
maybe
time,
it's
but
all happening collectively.
yeah, yeah.
In small cells,
Mhm.
but yeah, or maybe you are seeing things differently, and yeah, obviously you are, or maybe when one of us elevates, we affect those, as many have talked about. Morgan talks about 7 generations forward, 7 backwards. Other people talk about you're affecting the energy fields around you,
Oh,
and that
and
doesn't
like I
mean
said
you have
before,
to be physically standing next to him. If your mother
yeah.
lives across the other side of the world and you're
Hmm.
elevating and expanding and vice versa, then it's going to affect the other one.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah, indeed. I mean,
so
that's just proof.
so
Yeah.
what's your, and I asked you this question not so much on a personal level, but as the individual goes, so goes the collective. With everything that's gone on this month, everything that's gone on, period, where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you going? How do you
Mm.
see things?
Well,
What's
let's.
happening?
Oh, you talk. Okay, so on a global level, you're talking about
No,
that
just
affects
no. I mean,
everyone,
with
or
you, like, what's your
okay.
focus? Where you
Well,
at? You know.
I can tell you on a 3D level, on a physical level, like traveling wise, that my next couple of weeks are like I have a full freaking agenda. All
Yeah.
right, Wednesday I'm going down to Florida, going to spend some time with my sister, and then as soon as I leave there, I'm going straight to freaking North Carolina, spend some time with my mom. And as soon as I leave there, I'm going straight to Maryland, spend some time with family up there. As soon as I leave there, I'm going straight to St. Louis, spend some time with my family. As soon as I leave there, coming to you. So
if
I'm
we're
just
re-
doing, oh
if
yeah.
we're if we're ready, we'll be
Well,
getting ready.
I mean, like I said,
But
it's just
no, I
even
know.
just coming, just hanging out for a couple of days. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't mean to,
yeah.
yeah,
No, I
yeah,
get that. I'm making a joke. No. What I was getting at though is like, so we call it guidance or knowing or whatever, to get out there and visit these people and touch them and come
because it
together.
feels right.
Yeah,
I would not do any of this unless there was no doubt. Then like
yeah,
unless the energy was right.
yeah.
And now, I mean, like the whole time I went down, like I told you, when I went down to actually see you guys, and all that, I was actually taking a nap in my bed. I didn't plan on going anywhere. I mean, I thought about, yeah, I'd like to get down to Florida. I haven't been there in a while, but I was just like, I haven't planned anything. So I was taking a nap. I woke up and bam, it just popped in my mind. It was there, go to Florida. And then
Hmm.
I'm like, go to Florida, but I'm like, what am I going to do in Florida? I'm like, okay. And then my very next thing was to watch your show. And then you said in that exact show that I watched where you lived
Hmm.
at that time. But
And
you've
then
only,
we were
yeah,
having a beer 3 days later at a
yeah,
restaurant in the middle of
exactly.
the quarantine.
See, that's what happens when you follow that higher,
Yeah.
guidance, you know?
Man, I have no
Yeah.
idea what's coming, but all I feel the alignment. It feels huge. The soul highway, 0 point, whatever you want to call it, feels bigger. I mean,
Uh,
I don't know,
yeah.
man. It's
I honestly think it doesn't matter.
no.
I mean, if you think about it, because if you try to guess or predict the future, you're still trying to put it into a
Yeah.
category. You're still
There's
trying to,
no, yeah, there's no, that's my point. There's no, you can't even, all I can do is go from, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go do what I want to do next. And then what I want to do next.
and
And
what's more exciting than not knowing?
yeah,
That is freaking exciting. Not knowing your future, I
yeah.
freaking love that. I've been doing that my entire life. Everyone else has to plan out their vacations. They have to plan out their future. And I've always been like, I'll just drive here and that's it. And then what? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Just
Well,
not knowing. I love that.
but another thing that's coming into play too is the whole building. You can call it manifesting or materializing or building, like the way that we, because of what you're saying is like, we can call it being present, and not getting caught up in the future because we've already figured that out about the past. But we're all kind of getting these purposes and these missions,
Hmm.
these co-creations and collaborations that are coming together, and the way we're kind of coming
Oh,
together
yeah.
and congealing are not, they're not traditional, they're not typical,
No,
they're not
no.
3D, they're not
There's nothing
patriarchal.
about us traditional.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. What you're doing. I mean, everyone's always told you, they've expressed that they know what you're doing. They know how important it is because it's first of all, I mean, think about how many different people that haven't talked to anybody. Like, before I talked to you, I've had no other human on this planet that I could talk to about this kind of stuff.
I
None,
remember you told me that.
you know? I mean, like, even people that I thought that were maybe a little more enlightened, I could still talk to them for maybe 30 seconds max, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anything after that, the veil would just come over their
Yeah.
eyes and they would start going off somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right, sorry,
Yeah.
let me back off.
Like when you're at a restaurant and they bring the check and those people that look up to see them.
Yeah, that's what I've always gotten. So that's why I decided it was better off being alone than being around fake people.
Right on. I want to say
You
I
know,
want to say hello to Lil Too Spicy in the YouTube. She's in Arkansas. We're in Arkansas.
hello.
We're in Arkansas over here.
Yeah.
And Homeboy's
Oh
going to
yeah.
come for a visit in a few weeks. So you got a pretty full schedule, man. That's going to be a lot of powerful interaction and exchanges.
Oh,
You know.
and as everything with me, timing always works out because I have a carpet cleaning company. In the last 4 months, I've had 2 jobs. That's it. So I mean, like, money hasn't really existed for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the only money I had was a stimulus check.
Wow.
That's really about it. But today, I just did one of my old jobs that I haven't done.
Hmm.
I basically worked 2 hours, made $650. I have another job Wednesday. I'm making another 150. So I'm going to have about $800 in my pocket, which just popped out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So when I go on my trip, so I'll be able to bam, 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 do all my circles. And then, it's like, and that I always have because my dad is a salesman through and through. I mean, he's a third dimensional salesman, and bam, he's very wise and very smart, but he's a salesman. He's all about, you get what you want, you take what you want, you grab, it's all about you do. And he's always about, telling me that, oh, well, you have to work more. You have to go out and do sales. You have to do this. You're not doing enough. You have to do
Yeah.
more. I'm like, you don't understand. It's not about that. I understand you want me to be like you, but I'm not, and I'm not going to be. And, but now, you know, times are changing, and he's finally let go of the reins of trying to control me as
Yeah.
much. And now he's just like, okay, I can see he's doing okay. So
He's a
maybe
great
I should,
mirror for you.
yeah,
He's a great
a
aspect.
huge mirror.
I love
He
what
brings up my insecurities quickly.
I love what Don Bowers Cantor says. Thank you, Don. It reminds me of that Ram Dass. She says, I'm sure when Stephen, you visit your family, you will get some hardcore expansion. Best
Oh
way to
yeah.
expand and transmutal paradigms and patterns. Because Ram Dass says if you think you're enlightened, go spend some time with your family.
Yeah, right. Well,
But
my whole father's side of the family, my last name is Savage, and they are freaking savages. So
yeah,
I do not, I get it all. I get the brunt, and it's just like my family, they don't hold back. They're extremists, and they're just like So when I'm around them, I'm like, it's a hell of a test, and I love it
wow.
because it shows what I have to work on.
So yesterday we had that incredible. That was incredible. That open mic,
Yeah.
spoken word, light language. That was an
Oh yeah.
absolutely
It was.
incredible 2 hours and 47 minutes of one activation after another. I was really excited about it.
It
But
was.
you told me that you were trying to get on and you couldn't get on because you didn't know how. So before we get out of here, I wanted to know, what were you going to do on that show? What were you going to
Well,
do on the open mic?
I was actually thinking about doing some light language, and that's it. That's all I really had in mind. But who knows what would have, actually
Well,
come
let's
from it.
just, since there's no linear, we're still there. Let's go for it. You want to try
Yes,
something? You are definitely a multidimensional ET. There's no doubt about it.
Well,
But
I've had a strong connection to Orion, and I'm still trying to
yeah.
figure all that out stuff too. I mean,
That came in. That's weird that you say that. That came into me, and it has before. I mean, it's not that I'm unfamiliar with it, but it was this morning when I was purging and a bunch of stuff going, and the actual, and I'd never seen it. I had to go look it up, and it was very similar. But the actual outline and the figure of the, I guess, the person or the essence Orion actually popped in my head. I saw it. I saw it because of the 3 stars
really.
in the belt. And I thought, wait, I've seen that before. And then I saw this figure. I don't know what it means either.
Wow. Well, that actually brought up something for me, as you were saying that with faces and stuff, images, is I've noticed the last few nights before I go to bed, because I'll sit there and I'll have my eyes closed and these faces will kind of pop up. I mean, they won't be like faces like you and I looking at each other. They'll be like faded faces. Like I can see like all of a sudden an outline will pop up and I can see a nose and a mouth and
Yeah.
I can see like eyebrows change or I can see something and
Did,
it'll be right there and then it'll
yeah.
go away.
Do you see that? I was telling Morgan last night that happened. I was telling her today when we laid down, and I told her the room was full, but it wasn't like, I actually saw them all, and I saw my face in many different, incarnations, I guess. It was like they were me. And I know, like, conceptually, I know that, anytime anything like that's ever happened, it's me. But this was like closer to home. I mean, it was like could actually see my face in the face of this being or creature or entity or ET or whatever.
So the oneness is actually
I don't know.
is manifesting itself in more of a tangible way, not just an etheric way like it's always been, because we've always known for a certain aspect that we are one, but we had to believe it, I guess you would say, instead of like
I think
now it's like it's coming to us.
spoon fed.
We are,
When I engaged it last night, and I was talking about it, when I was engaging those aspects last night, that was and I've heard it before, but they said that we're giving you what you can take, one bite at a time. So there has been. I love Dawn Cantor's comment again. She says celibacy is divine union work. That's exactly the truth.
Well, they say that Tesla never had sex.
Well, I don't know if I want to be Tesla.
just saying.
No, I understand your, yeah. So before we get out of here, Well, I just want to say too that Stephen and I are going to be getting together a couple of times a month, and he's working on. Actually, he has a YouTube channel, and it's called Yellow Brick Road, and he's doing a video every couple days. You guys take a visit there. He's also part of this energy we call Soulology, and we're doing some collaborating. But to start out, we're going to get together at least a couple times a month. But anyway, getting back to what a couple of people have said here, they really liked your light language. I think maybe if it's not too much of an inconvenience, maybe since you have this new level of spiritual confidence, maybe you could take us out with whatever you want, a little light language, commentary, song, whatever you want to do.
Let it flow. Let it flow.
Right on. Very cool, man.
Life is good.
Yes, it is. I'm glad we got together. I look forward to the next one in a couple of weeks, and I'll reach out to you, and we'll schedule that the next day or two. Well, the reason we didn't do it last time because you don't know exactly where you're going to be and when, but we'll figure it out.
Well, I have my phone, so
yeah. We'll just figure it out. Yeah. 10 days, 12 days
Indeed.
from now, we'll just do it spontaneously. All right, brother. I look forward to seeing you soon, and keep on keeping on. And thank you, Kuan Yin, for helping my brother, and also for allowing us to speak openly about this. And big gratitude.
I did ask her permission first. So.
I know you did. That's why I'm thanking her. I know you're not a 3D man anymore. A 3D man wouldn't ask. He'd be like Fred Flintstone coming home getting his ass kicked.
Right. Yeah.
But I want to say too, not only to Kuan Yin, but to those, and I'm not trying to differentiate anything, but I want to say they're mostly feminine, mostly women that have been doing these incredible things very quietly. Because I went to Kuan Yin's page, and she's very quiet. But that doesn't mean, and there's many of them out there, and many have come out on this show for the first time. And Kuan Yin, if you'd like to come on the show, please let me know. But no, I just want to say thank you, because all the work that these women have done over the years is starting to come to fruition. And
indeed,
I just want to say thank you for that. All right, brother.
And thank you, Todd. Later. Thank you, everybody. Love y'all.
All right.
Talk to you soon.